We've looked at several different variations of soft mobile flies, and this fly is going to be a standard soft hackle, rather traditional type pattern. This one's slightly different because we're going to have a tail on it, and many of them don't. Touching turns down to the bend of the hook as previously, and again I'm tying this fly slightly oversized just so it's easier for you to see. And we're going to tie in some tail fibers. You can use anything you like. Cock hackle, Xylon, Antron, hotspot tag, but we're going to use some Hackle.flv on this one. Try to get the length about the same as the hook shank. There we go. And then we're going to tie in some ribbing material. And just for a bit of variation, we're going to use some gold mylar. Pinch your loop. Notice that you don't need to use a lot of wraps of thread to hold material still on the hook. You don't need to use 10 or 12 wraps. Just 1 or 2 wraps. Hold it securely, and then we're going to dub on a body. In this instance, we're going to use some artificial fibre actually, but you can use rabbit fur, seal's fur. And the trick with traditional flies, traditional wet flies, soft tackle flies, is not to overdo the dubbing. It should be actually fairly sparse. There we go. And build a body, slightly tapered body. A little bit more dubbing on this one until you're just short of the eye of the hook. I'm still going to give it a little tiny bit more here. I'm trying to get a nice taper that's slightly fatter towards the front. That will help it look right. And then rib with a tinsel rib in opposite turns to the front of the hook. Like that. And then we're going to tie in a soft hackle, and I'm going to use a little hen hackle. You can use any game feather, partridge being a commonly used game feather for this type of thing, but grouse, hen hackle, variety of things. Stroke the fibres out like this and just trim the points off, because we're going to tie it in by the point of the feather instead of by the back of the stalk like we normally do with dry flies. If we can pinch and loop that one on there. And trim off the excess. And you can either use your fingers or a hackle plier to wrap the fibres around the hook. Whoopsie. With 1 wrap. 1.5 to 2 wraps is normally sufficient. Whoops. One more there. Stroke the fibres back. Take the thread around and just catch the hackle stalk before it falls apart. And then we're going to trim off the remainder of the stalk there. Stroke all the fibres back out of the way and form a nice neat small head on the fly. And then we're just going to stroke the fibres out of the way. Nice neat finish on the front. I do prefer using my fingers. I find I can get a much neater head than I can using a whip finish tool. That's better. It's just a case of adding a drop of varnish to the head of the fly. And we're done. And there we are. A fairly traditional wet fly. If you want to reduce the amount of hackle, you make either less turns, or you can just peel all the fibers off one side of the hackle before you wrap it around the hook, and that'll give you a slightly less bulky finish to the fly. This type of pattern really relies on the fact that it has lots of movement. It looks very alive in the water. The soft game material, hackle materials that you use are very mobile compared to stiff dry fly hackles, and it simply imitates life. Maybe an emerger just coming to the surface, or in the process of hatching out. In the right circumstances, it can be absolutely deadly.